people. Hello, people. I am back for part two. What if Deku was a hyuga? So, I believe last I left off is when he entered 1/8 classroom. I'm just gonna give you the little update on what he's wearing. He's wearing the UA uniform, but he's wearing the a headband with the hyuga symbol engraved on it, like the headband you get as a genin, the headband you get as a tuning, and with instead of the leaf symbol on it, it's the hyuga symbol. And when he walks in, he first sees Bakugo and Ida. Ida yelling at Bakugo for having his feet on the desk. And when Ida turns around and sees him, he runs up to him and says, "You figured out the hidden part of the exam. You are better than me." Deku not really still being his kind self, but not as nervous. He's more confident. Says it's what heroes are supposed to do. You're not supposed to run away from a villain. If there's no civilians, you can run away from the villain and see it another day. But if there's a person who needs help, you ignore running away and save them. And he says that's what a hero does. And Deku senses someone behind him, so he turns around and sees Uraraka. She thanks him for saving her, and it goes on as in canon. They go they go to the locker rooms, they change and everything. He changes into his gym clothes, but he still keeps on the headband. And they ask him why does he wear the headband? And he just says it's a family thing. And he's not really supposed to take it off, but he only takes it off when he's like showering. So he's he says that. They go out into the field, and Aizawa calls up Deku because he got first in the entrance exam. So basically, what he does, instead of using his jutsu, he just throws the ball one for all. The ball breaks the sound barrier twice, going into the stratosphere, and it says 907 and 70 meters. Everybody is astonished by his pure strength, but he also says that's not all what he can do, but he'll show them during the test. So during going through the test, he activates his Byakugan, giving him his boost in speed and strength, doing side to sides perfectly, but at a quick rate. And we skip to the end of the quirk assessment test, and Deku is in first place, while Todoroki is in second, Bakugo in third, and Momo in fourth. And as we continue on, he they go, and it's like 3 more days into them being in UA. Deku senses someone coming to their classroom fast, and the door swings open. And it's All Might. He says, "I am here, coming through the door like a normal person." And Deku says that's not normal, and everybody looks at him like blankly. But but All Might says, "Young Hyuga, it's good to see you again." He says, "Good to see you too, All Might Sensei." They all start asking how does he know All Might and the yada yada yada. But All Might says, I'm gonna be one of your teachers with you here today. So today we are going to be doing combat training. So he says, but before that, go go get your hero costumes and change into them and meet me at ground beta. And they go into change into their hero costumes. But Neji's hero, not Neji, Deku's hero costume It's like Neji's, but Deku's hair isn't really that long. It only goes to like down like to like 2 inches behind his, like 3 or 4 inches behind his shoulder. So he keeps that up. So he said, All Might says that they're going to be doing combat training, and Bakugo, being his arrogant self, says, "I'm going to beat all of you." And Bakugo, really not knowing that he's not, knowing he always thinking he's the best, is going to be real surprised at the end. So they're put into teams as they are in canon, but it's a little switched. Bakugo Bakugo never listen. He's not listening to Ida at all. So when the villains go in there to hide the bomb, and Bakugo is just waiting there for Deku. And Deku says, they say start, but before Deku and Uraraka go in, Deku says stop and says, "I can find the bomb." It says how. Uraraka asks how, and Deku activates his Byakugan. He looks through all the floors of the building at once and sees that the bomb is on the 5th floor. He tells Uraraka where the bomb is. Instead of them going through the door and making a big scene and just having them go on one-way path, he he has a different idea. He infuses his chakra, focuses his chakra in his feet, and asks Uraraka to make herself float. Hold on. So he starts walking up the wall while he's holding Uraraka's hand to try not so she doesn't fly away. So they get to the floor where the bomb is and where they see Ida. They go into Ida's blind spot behind the bomb, and Deku removes opens the window by breaking it, but making sure all the pieces don't hit the ground or make a loud sound, so Ida turns around. So they're just standing there. Ida is waiting for them, but little does they know that they're behind him. And Deku and Uraraka touch the bomb, and All Might says, "Hero Team wins." As Ida looks behind him and sees that Deku and Uraraka are behind him touching the bomb. They're starting to ask, how did they get there, and and then Deku says, "We don't reveal our secrets." Well, not yet. So Bakugo, being majorly pissed, runs at Deku, but before anybody can do anything, Bakugo is knocked out. Deku ran up to him faster than the eye could see, hitting Bakugo in the side of the neck and knocking him out. And yes, if you didn't see my last one, Deku does have one for all. And Deku, they all continue on. It's the next day, and they're supposed to pick representative. They go as in canon, Ida and Yaoyorozu. So they go to lunch, it's lunch hour, and it happens as in canon. Everybody's panicking because they think there's villains on campus. But instead of Ida calming everybody down, it's Deku. He tells everybody to calm down, that they're heroes in training and that they're pro heroes on the campus. So they need to calm down and stay calm in these types of situations. Everybody listens and calms down. And they find out it was just the press. So then when they get back to class, Aizawa tells them that they will be going to the USJ in a couple of days. So they're preparing everything for the USJ, and then the next day they go to the USJ, And while they're on the, they say you can either wear your hero costumes or your gym uniforms. So they're all wearing their hero costumes, even Deku, because his hero costume wasn't ruined in the fight with Bakugo. So they all get in the bus and start talking. Deku really isn't focused on talking or really doing anything on the bus, so he's just sitting there. And they're talking about their quirks. So then they get to Deku. Sue asks Deku what's his quirk. And Deku says his quirk is Byakugan and superpower. And they ask what do they do? Well, he activates his Byakugan and says, my Byakugan gives me 360 vision so I don't have a blind spot when it's activated. I can see your pressure points when I hit them. If I hit them hard enough, I can't stop your quirk, and I can numb that part of your body would go numb or be temporarily paralyzed. And and he tells him all his Byakugan's abilities, like 8 trigrams, 16 palm, 8 trigrams, 32 palm, 8 trigrams, 64 palm, and 8 trigrams, 120 palm. And he tells him all about his abilities, like his rotation, his gale palm, and his double lion fist. And he tells that since his other quirk is superpower, it basically enhances his strength and enhancing his physical abilities. He also tells him that with his Byakugan, he can walk on water and on walls. So they're all complimenting him on his powerful quirk, and Bakugo tries to chime in and say that quirk is weak, and tries to scold Deku, but Deku replies with, "Be quiet, Bakugo. You have a quirk and it's powerful, but you always use it in the wrong ways. Do you want me to remind you about middle school? And Bakugo, you're more of a bully than you are of a hero, so I'll lose that I'm better than everyone mentality." So Bakugo is just sitting there quiet, and everybody's just like, oh, just got told, and laughing and everything. So they reach the USJ. They get off. They get off the bus, and that when they're walking in the USJ, and the Pro Hero 13 is there. She gives them the whole speech on how quirks can be dangerous if not used properly, and Deku gets this weird feeling. So he activates his Byakugan and he sees a weird portal thing before anybody else. And he tells Aizawa and 13, and that gives him a heads up and gives him a quicker reaction time. So they call the Pro Heroes before they could jam the connection, and the heroes are on their way quicker than they were in canon. But they are still split up, and Aizawa is still badly injured. So when Sue and Mineta and Deku were on the boat, Deku was like, I could carry you guys and we could run on water. I could run on the water with you guys. Or Mineta, because Sue can just jump over it. So they do this plan, and before the villains could attack Deku, he sends a giant burst of wind. He uses Gale Palm and shoots it into in the middle of the water. So when all the villains get sucked into a whirlpool, and Mineta throws his pop off into the water, so they all are stuck together. And then the first thing they see is Aizawa getting destroyed by the Nomu. Shigaraki sees the 3 kids and tries to attack him, but with Deku and his visual paralysis, he uses 8 trigrams, 64 palms on Shigaraki's arms and chest and legs, immobilizing Shigaraki, making him unable to move. So then Kirogiri takes Shigaraki to a safer place where they were when they originally popped out. So then the Nomu tries to attack them, but Deku is using his rotation to protect them. So they're sitting in Deku's rotation. He's constantly spinning and letting out his energy to protect them, which is taking a lot out of him, but not really a lot because he's using one for all. So spinning faster and has a higher and more dense rotation, so it won't be broken by the Nomu's punches. So then, all then when they least expect it, a giant flying lion shoots out of the rotation and hits the Nomu straight in the brain, killing it. And Shigaraki was acting like a baby, saying, "No, no, that Nomu was supposed to kill All Might," and starts and charges at them again. But as soon as he does that, the pro heroes burst into the USJ, and All Might walks in, not smiling, with a scowl on his face. He goes down and defeats the remainder of the villains, but before he could get to Shigaraki, Kirigiri takes him and takes him back to the bar. Deku, being tired, collapses from exhaustion and wakes up in Recovery Girl's office back at UA. They tell him what happened, and they are glad that he is okay, and they asked everybody what was going on, what happened to them, and they basically Sue and Mineta told them how Deku protected them even if he was going to get hurt in the process. So they were all really relieved that they were safe, and they were off for school for a few days. And when they came back, it was announced that they were going to have the sports festival in approximately 3 weeks. So I'm going to leave it off here, and the next arc I'm going to get into is the sports festival. Please stay noted, and like and subscribe for more, and see you guys next time.